Hello, this is Matthew Miller from the ZDNet Mobile Gadgeteer blog. Now, in my mobile coverage, one of the things I'm supposed to be covering, and I'll do a better job now that I've got some new tech, since most of it has been pretty old, is portable gaming. So the newest and latest portable gaming system is the Nintendo DSi. It was actually launched today in the US, so being as I'm a Nintendo Game Boy kind of fan, I went and picked up a new black one that I'll show off here in just a second. But see, my first Nintendo was what I received, and I was away in college. I received this back in 1989 from my mom for a Christmas gift, and it still works pretty good. This is my original Nintendo Game Boy, and boy, this thing is it really turned into a beast. But still a working unit there. So let's first take a look at some of the differences. This here, this light blue one, is my daughter's Nintendo DS Lite, and this one here is the new DSi. Now, if we just looking at the form factor, if I slide them together here, so on one side it's even there. What you can kind of see, and hopefully you'll be able to see in pictures, is that the new DSi is slightly longer this way than the DS Lite. Okay, slightly as in, I don't know, 3 millimeters or something like that. Now, if we look at the thickness of them, you can hopefully see there that the new DSi is slightly less deep than the DS. So let's take a walk around the hardware here. Okay, so up on the top we've still got left and right buttons, but as you can see here on the new DSi, they're actually much more pronounced. The right and left buttons. Got the same lanyard opening there. We've got the same cartridge slot for the small games. You know, these little guys here. Okay, that's the same slot on the top. We've got a slightly different charging port, as you can see. So there's the DS Lite, and here's the DSi. It has slightly different type of connector. Don't know why that is. Over on this other side, we've got nothing on the DS Lite, and on the DSi we've got the volume buttons there. And on the bottom, there's the volume on the DS Lite. And the major, and of course over here is the headset jack. The major difference, as you can see, is clearly the larger cartridges from the Nintendo DS series are no longer work on the DS Lite. So if you're into those games, you're going to have to either buy new games or stick around with the DS Lite. And over here on the right side, we've got another slight difference. There's a power button and the stylus, and here we have the stylus and an SD secure digital card slot. And as you can see right here, I actually have an 8 gig SDHC card. Okay, and that works just fine, as we'll see here shortly. Okay, so that's a walk around the differences there. Just in form factors, this is a glossy blue finish. These come in a matte finish, which is very much feels like my Microsoft Zoom 30 device, which I actually like this matte finish. It tends to scratch less and show up fingerprints less and things like that. So this is the matte black finish. There's also a blue, which is kind of a baby blue. Oh, I forgot. There's the camera. That's I didn't look at the specs. I believe that's a 3 megapixel on the one side there. And this is a little indicator light, so when you take a picture, it lights up. Also, the sound, the shutter sound, makes a sound even if you turn off the volume. Now let's take a look at the insides of these two devices. Open them both up. Let's see. So one of the differences, and let's see if you can see it in the video or not, is the screen sizes are different here. Trying to show that as much as I can, but you can see the bezel on the bottom is a little bit different. It's actually, I believe it's 3.5 inches, so it's a bigger screen on both upper and lower. The button placement, as you can see there, is pretty much the same with the X, Y, A, B, start, select, and directional pad. The power button is now located on the front. There is the speaker, one speaker there, whereas before we had little speaker openings. There was a mic in the middle. Now we've got a mic and an internal camera, so you can take pictures of yourself. We also have, on this DS Lite, we had indicator lights on the right side. Now we've got them on the left side, and it's clearly marked. Power, whether you have it plugged in, and the Wi-Fi. Okay, so that's enough about the hardware. Let's take a look at, and let me go ahead and turn off the overhead light to see if this helps. Now when you go into the setup, when you first get the device, you do go through, set your language, your name, your username, all kinds of settings, time, date, all that kind of thing. And now that we are out of that, let's just jump in here and I'll show you, run through some of these things. So at first you have, let me turn the volume down. Okay, turn the volume down there. So on the bottom screen, what you can see is we now have a bunch of different icons that we can scroll through. And you see it down at the bottom, there's room for plenty of them. If you go into the settings, you can either press the A button or tap on it. You can see there's a bunch of different settings for brightness. And these are all the same kind of things that you set up when you initially set up the device. Now, I also had to upgrade my device, which I'll talk about in a second. So I'm going to go back. I press the power button once. It takes me back to the DSi main menu. Okay, so then we have a game there, and the gaming experience pretty much the same as before, just on a slightly bigger screen. Let's look at this one. This is the sound. Now if we press that in, we'll start the sound application, and you can see you can record and edit a sound or play your music. Now this is only AAC music. MP3s do not work. If you look at settings, there's a few settings there. Let's just go to record and play a sound, and as you can see, my daughters have done a few of these sounds. So you can just tap this and then record to record a new sound or to play an existing sound. And if you were to select play, starts to play the sound. And if you go over here, you can have some fun changing the sound output. Go here, you can have some funny different sounds as well when people are talking. I'll show you some of that here in just a second. So let's go back. So there's those sounds there, and then if I wanted to play music, it shows up as my SD card. Tap it again. The only thing that appears in my list that actually works is GDGT Weekly. So, because all my other music is an MP3. Now if I select that, you can see up top it shows some stats. Down here it's scrolling it. If I say start, there we go, and up top it scrolls a little bit of the title and everything else. So here's some of these controls. Now let's just let's turn it up just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and play with some of these sounds as we see here. I'm sure Ryan and Peter will appreciate this. So we stay play. Speed things up.
Alright, welcome to for the first week of April 2009. My name is Peter Rojas. Hello, I'm Brian Block. Thanks for joining
us. CCIA is going on this week. And if you don't know, it's the big wireless trade show that happens here in the U.S. Actually happens twice a year.
There we go. We got the Chipmunks GT podcast.
And I'll be honest, not quite the blockbuster event that we've seen in previous years. I think not really as many big phone announcements as you might have expected. Yeah, Mobile World Congress is certainly becoming a focal point.
Might be able to listen to the podcast a little faster at this rate.
We'll try to get through the mobile stuff as quickly as possible since there wasn't anything too blockbuster. Though,
I don't think you'd be too remiss if
you
you
also go to the radio.
To the second portion of the show where we get to the non-mobile stuff. But there are a handful of things, and there were a few things that were worth covering, and maybe one of the bigger announcements.
Just some of the fun controls. So you can see there's lots of fun to have with sounds on the DSi. Now the most fun actually is the camera, and the camera is a lot of fun, and what may be the big seller for this device. So up top you can actually see, I've only had it for a day because today was the release date, but your photos will appear in the calendar So top. So, and you also see there's system or SD card. Let me go ahead and turn the sound down. I don't need that down anymore. So I've taken 62 photos, and I have a large SD card. You can take up to 3,000, no matter if your SD card can hold more than that or not. And if you tap on Other, you can see how you can exchange that with another DS via the wireless connection. You can delete pictures or copy them from a card and back and forth. So let's go ahead and take a look at my album here. And if we scroll all the way to the beginning, you can see we can just look at the pictures here. You can actually say slideshow, and it will show the picture up top there with the controls coming down the bottom. So it's just going to do a nice little slideshow running through some of the pictures that I have, and you can change some of the settings on the slideshow as well. And let's quit out of that. Okay, let's go back to the pictures. So if I select camera, okay, now what you can see here is it says pick from 11 different lenses and start taking photos. So you choose a lens. So on the lenses here, you can choose normal. You can choose distorted, which kind of skews everything. You can choose the graffiti, which adds some graffiti to your pictures, and you can actually tap and add as much more graffiti as you want. You can choose color, which is pretty interesting because let's just go ahead and say start. This is an interesting one. If I hit switch, right now as you can see it's taking the camera that I'm taking pictures of, so if I say switch, it switches to the other front facing camera, and right now it's black. Let me go ahead and turn on this overhead light and see if it adjusts. Okay, so now everything is in black and white. Now if I have something that has color on it, if I tap on it, it adds color to that specific item, or I say restore. So let me see, over here there's something blue. So there we go, and I can capture that, and it will only capture that part that's blue, which is kind of a cool deal. This is the same kind of thing. It comes in color. You tap on it, it goes to different lenses and different photo colors. Mirror is kind of a kaleidoscope looking effect, as you can see. And as I move this around, you know, there's triangle, there's square, there's like a mirror image. Lots of fun things there. Next one is mischief, which you take a photo and it starts to do weird things to the faces. You have to also, it has face recognition, so you actually have to have a face. It won't capture the picture unless there's a face in the photo. So there's a few of those that are like that. The mischief one, the emoter, the merge, it merges two faces together. The one that resembles, takes two faces and compares them. I'll actually show that in my image gallery. And then there's the frame, and the frames you can set up here. Say start, and you can change the frames. I think it comes with 10 frames by default. There's like a flower and a card and some bunch of different frames. And once you select them, then you just frame your person into that particular deal. Okay, so that's the camera. The camera actually looks like, especially for kids, it'll be a lot of fun, and for myself too. Now the quality, we'll see if it's going to be very good, but the controls are pretty cool, especially the color things and some of the other ones that we have. Now the Nintendo DSi shop, let's go ahead and bounce in there real quick. It's connecting to the internet. I do have an internet connection. Let's see. I don't know if that makes much of a difference in this screen. So right now all I found is when I first started up a couple hours ago, there was only 6 games available, and once I did sign up, I actually was given 1,000 points, and that's like $10 worth of credit for these different applications. So if we go to recommended titles, currently I believe it's all the titles. There's only 10. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's 6. And one of them is, the first one is the browser. The Opera browser actually is not put on the device by default. You actually have to download the browser, which I'll show you in a minute. So I have 1,000 Nintendo DSi points still because there's no other applications really in there except for those 6. I'm going to kind of wait and see what flushes out and find some more. You can also add DSi points, and you can actually use a credit card, redeem your points, and as you can see here, if I say buy Nintendo DSi points with a credit card, there's a couple options. There's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, and what I read on here was that you could have a maximum of 20,000 DSi points in your account, as you can see up there, which is $200 worth of points or money. Okay, let's go ahead and go back. I believe there's one more thing, which is the browser. Oh yeah, there's the download play, which lets you play wirelessly just like you can on the DS Lite with other people. There's the PictoChat. It doesn't have video chatting. It's the same as the current chatting client between different DSs. And then we have the web browser. So let's just go ahead and select that. This is the Opera web browser, which is available for free, called the Nintendo DSi browser, powered by Opera. You can download it. It doesn't cost you any points. There's the Opera logo. And let's see. Let's go to my favorites just to kind of show you a couple of pages. Let's go to Mobile Gadgeteer. And I've got it, let's see, there's 2 different modes, column view and let's see, there's column view mode. Column view mode is just a long string of it, or there's overview mode, which I personally like. So in overview mode, what it'll do on the top screen is it will show my entire website there, and then at the bottom shows as I zoom around. And as you can see, it loaded up the full version of my web page, not just partial version or anything. It loaded up the full thing, which is pretty nice. And so far I'm finding most web pages are loading up alright. There are some that are optimized. If we go to here, you can see that you can easily enter different web pages with the www and the com, and the keyboard is actually really easy to use, much more so than my PSP keyboard, which is quite difficult to use actually. So there's some settings in here. Search engine, you can select what it is. Download the images, text wrap, off or on, internet settings, time zone, I need to change that actually. And a bunch of other settings in there. And there's history for viewing. And just a decent little browser to get some of your email and things like that. So that's a first kind of a look at the Nintendo DSi. Oh, here's the stylus as well. So far I'm liking it. It's definitely a nice unit. Let me just go ahead and start the game here. Screen's bigger and it has the camera, which is a lot of fun. The price is like $40 more. It was $129 I believe for the original. Now it's $169 at Walmart, $169.99 at other places. So it's a little bit redesigned, a little thinner, and has that camera, dual cameras, and the web browser integration built into it. But there it is. Pretty nice unit. And we'll see how it does in the US. Thanks for watching. Couple.